Hey you, put down that lightsaber and get on in the lab with me, Jimmy Ray Purser. Hey folks, thanks for joining me in the lab today. Today we're going to talk about a great feature, IPSLA. IPSLA has been kind of known as advanced ping, if you will. And I know that all those folks working on Cisco stuff have done the ping extended command where we just do ping and then we kind of walk down our options. Still very valuable stuff. But what if we need something that kind of does some timekeeping for us and allows us to set up some scheduling like a cron job so that we can actually monitor this and use this data to build out a really good service level agreement. IPSLA is actually that feature, and it's a great way to see what the performance of our network is and how we're actually performing on a daily basis, hourly basis, even per second if we want to set it up to that level. Now IPSLA, we're going to set up 3 different features here going through this, and to let you know, I'm using iOS version 15 to set this up. This works on features on iOS way on back there, so you can look at Feature Navigator and make sure support on your gear. Chances are it is, but I am using iOS 15 on here just to let you know. IPSLA is one of those features that requires a couple units. I need a head-in and I need a responder. The responder is actually just going to be looking for the request I'm sending back, and it knows how to timestamp those. So as they're coming back, they're getting the right information. So the first thing you want to do when you're setting up IPSLA is set up your responder on here. So what I'm going to do is we'll just do an up arrow, and this is going to be our responder on this network here. And it's just as simple as typing up IPSLA responder. In this case, I'm going to use an echo, but what we could do is we can backspace here, and we can see all the options that I have in here to set this up. You've got quite a few here to actually so it knows. Auto register is what a lot of folks tend to use, but for the most part, if we're going to use the echo command, you're just going to set up the echo responder on here. Now let's go ahead, since it's one command to set up the responder, let's go ahead and set up the head-in so we can send this out. And it's basically just building up an IPSLA policy, and it looks like this. So we'll do, let me take that command off so it doesn't cause me any problems here. There we go. So we'll do IPSLA, and then we give it a policy number. In this case, we'll just call it 10. That, as you see, our prompt just changed up here to take us to the IPSLA config mode. At this point, what we're going to look for, well, before we do that, look and see what we've got. We've got a lot of different things here that we can send across and check at the head end to see what our stuff is using. I see this used all the time in voice. This is a great way to look for jitter on the network, to look at what our jitter is along the path. Boy, I just use this all the time when I'm setting up my voice networks. So in this example, I'm actually going to use the UDP jitter command because it's typically one of the more common ones that I see out there today. So we'll just do UDP hyphen jitter, do tab to completion, and then we're going to set up what our responder address is on here. So we'll do 172, or not 174, 172.16.1.55. We're going to send that over port 5000. Enter. Now that takes us down to the jitter command, or to the jitter subsection. And at this point, we want to say how often we want to send this. Remember, I said at the start, we can do this minute, second, hour, whatever the case may be. And this one, we'll just do a frequency of 30 seconds. And then at this point, we'll just exit out. That is all we need to really set up to actually get this first policy rocking and rolling. Then we need to set up our cron tab. Well, cron tab, my old Unix language here coming out. We want to set up and tell it when we want this job to run and make happen. So we'll exit out of here. And then now we'll tell the IPSLA policy what we want it to do. So IPSLA schedule. Since I can't spell schedule, I'll just do tab to completion. One of my favorite features, if I could do an in the lab on how to use the tab key, that'd probably be the one I'd use the most, because that's probably the biggest feature that I use on here. So tab to completion for that one. We'll set up how we want this job to start. Schedule 10. 10 is correlating back to the policy that we did up here, IPSLA 10. And down here, we're going to say we want to set up and schedule IPSLA policy number 10 that we configured. So those numbers actually correlate and will match. Our start time, we'll do now. And then how we want, and what our life cycle is, we want this to be. We'll just say forever. Plug that in. And now that policy is going to kick in, and it's going to start sending those packets every 30 seconds to my responder out there, and I'm going to get that information back and forth. and I can do my show command. Go ahead and let that do its thing. There we go. Show IPSLA conf 10. And that's going to give me all the data that's saying right here what this policy is looking like, who I'm sending it to, what my parameters. And again, you've got a bunch of things that you can set up in here, and that's only just a touch of the screen. So we can actually record this. We can import this off and look at it for other pieces as well. But one of the features that doesn't get used a lot on here is probably just using the ping only command, because a lot of folks depend on ping to just check for link status, especially if you're configuring up branch offices where I've got replicated sites or satellite sites all over the world, and I really just want to make sure I've got clear link, especially if I am using a sat-nav communication link, like if I'm connecting to South America and stuff like that. I really want to make sure I've got good connections, because those tend to flap all the time. So a way to set that up is we'll just build a new policy. Let's go to config 10, and we're just going to do this policy that's only going to use ICMP echo command. So we'll do IPSLA, let's do 12 on that one. On this one we'll do ICMP -echo, and then we'll put in the destination of where we want this to go, 172.16.4.58. What our frequency is going to be on here. Oops, frequency, we'll make that about 30 seconds as well. Exit out. And then basically, once again, using those same commands. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of lazy here, so I'm going to do this. Highlight that one and bring it down here. Bring it on down. We'll paste that one right there. If my cut paste command works fine, there we go. Boom. Now, then basically, I'll just modify it just a touch so that it knows which policy to start. What do I got to modify? Just this one piece right here, 12. Boom, done. And now we're actually using, now you can run multiple policies on a single device, multiple responders, that kind of stuff. IPSLA is incredibly flexible when it comes to use it on your network, and it's really one of the nicer features that we have. If you're just using ping on your network and you're using ping from the command line on your workstation stuff, you're really missing out on a lot, because we've got a lot of data, as you saw up here, that we can really gather with IPSLA that really tells us some great stuff that we can use to really make sure that, number one, if we do have a service level agreement in place with a provider out there, we do have a really nice benchmark to actually be able to report data back and forth with them on. So this is a great feature. Folks, thanks a lot for joining me in the lab today. The feature that we talked about today is IPSLA. Don't forget it.